to the Guys Unpacked. This is Dre.
My name is Rich.
And we got a special guest today. So we got Jason. It's my dude. I've known him forever. Went to school with my older sister, so this shows you his age.
Big up, Terps.
Yep. So Jason is one of the masterminds behind Hookie Life. So if you've been to DC Carnival, you've been to a lot of big parties in the area,
Miami Carnival,
you
Jamaica,
know,
right?
You know Hookie Life. So Jason, welcome.
Thanks, fellas. I appreciate you guys having me on set.
All right, what up?
So basically, I just wanted to stop in, hang out, see what you guys doing. So, let's kick it
and take a little drink.
Well, clearly I've been taking a little drink already.
I haven't even. I gotta catch up with you guys.
Okay.
Right. Look, we wasn't waiting. Like
I mean,
Mr. Champagne likes to pop bottles.
It doesn't have the same effect.
It doesn't.
If you start the show and
right.
it's halfway finished already. Like y'all can drink the dark halfway.
Right.
I am trying to stunt. I got more. Don't worry.
Right. Because we definitely. This was during setup. This was a new bottle. This was during setup.
Do we want to talk about why we already halfway through this bottle though?
Nah.
Okay, we're gonna leave that alone. All right. So if this is your first time here, thank you. Welcome. It's going to be a fun episode. I promise you that. If you were here last week and checked out the first episode, you probably noticed the end was a little abrupt.
First off,
right.
If you were here last week, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for checking in. Everybody who has viewed it, everybody who has went on, like the page, subscribe to the YouTube page. If you haven't viewed it yet, go on below this one, the episode 1. Make sure you click on the link. You will enjoy that episode. But to Hazard's point,
it ended a little abruptly.
It was a little quick,
to say the least. We got comments. Oh, it's so great. But the ending was kind of all right. So here's the deal.
Right.
We don't mind saying this is the beginning of a new era for us. We're having a lot of fun doing this. But full disclosure, we had about 2 hours of footage last week, and the second hour, we noticed in post-production that we had no audio.
Zero sound. It was all lip syncing.
And when I tell you, if y'all enjoyed the first hour, you would have loved the second hour because the alcohol started hitting. And let me tell you, the conversation was crazy. Anyway, we still want to put it out, so it is what it is. We're going to improve because it's a very iterative process. Don't worry about it. But anyway, It's going to be cool.
Right. And to get back to the first episode, it was super political. And we understood that, this is always going to be the purpose of the show. We're going to be constantly dealing with whatever the current issues, whatever's going on. And so it's not going to be an all politics show. It's not politics every week. With that being said, this was Inauguration Week. So
we're going to talk about politics today.
We're going to start the episode off with some politics. We got some other topics to get to. But, fellas.
Yep.
All right, Jason, we're going to start with you.
Yep.
What'd you think of the inauguration?
Actually, forget that. I think we got to start with the cheers.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Sorry. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Hopefully this will not be the last one.
I doubt it will be.
Hopefully you'll be able to hear us.
Yeah.
You better be able to hear us, sound guys.
Sound guys.
And you check our cups out, Havana Night cups from Hookie Life. We gotta do all the promo for all the people who come through. Very nice cups.
Thank you.
Anyway,
thank you.
Inauguration.
So, for me, I think I've seen pretty much every inauguration since other than when I was super young, right?
Okay.
And I think we can all say that none of us in the world have ever seen an inauguration like this.
Okay.
That being said, I think they were able to keep a lot of the traditional elements, such as having it on the west front of the Capitol.
Yeah.
Especially considering we had some douchebags do something there a couple weeks ago. But
we started off heavy with the douchebags.
I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
It wasn't insurrection.
Sure.
So notwithstanding that, I think they had the traditional elements. It was really cool that we were able to actually have a peaceful transition of power.
Was it really a transition though?
Because
I feel like someone dropped the keys at the front door and was like, y'all figure it out when y'all get there.
I mean, regardless of what you want, whether we kicked his ass out by force or he just left on his own, it's still a transition, right? It's a new guard. There's a new guard there.
Several options for a transition.
I think for me personally, one of the saddest aspects of this inauguration was the unfortunate militarization of our city, right?
True.
I live in DC, right? Big up to DC.
Yep.
And to see that we had to bring our National Guard in, or National Guard from multiple states, to protect something as traditional and rich in history as our inauguration.
I mean, they dropped, well, not they, but like, they dropped the ball the week before.
Exactly.
So they had to make sure.
It was prudent, right?
Sure.
For security purposes. But I think in the long run, it robbed a lot of people, most importantly kids, of the opportunity to experience something like that. I don't know if you remember the Obama inauguration.
So I'm going to say full disclosure.
Didn't go.
I've never watched an inauguration until this one.
And
I didn't even really watch the whole thing.
Really?
So like I watched both of them get
I still love you. It's
okay. We don't judge
We don't judge
a lot.
And quite honestly, I wouldn't mind if you did. So I watched both people get sworn in.
Mm-hmm.
When he says both people, he means the president and vice president of the United States.
I mean, who else is getting sworn in?
He's like, I watch both of them dudes up there. The dude and the chick, you know.
Look, I'm wearing my USA paraphernalia right now. Okay,
got you.
So I'm a patriot right now. Anyway, so I watched that. I watched Biden sleep. Well, I tried to before I fell asleep during it because it was quite a snooze fest. And then I also watched the poetry. Mm-hmm. That was shared. It was the best part of the inauguration for me.
I'd have to agree with you there. Yeah, like I said, I mean, you know, all in all, I think for most people, an inauguration can be rather, like you said, a snooze fest, boring, stuff like that.
Sure.
Me, I'm a fucking nerd. So I like history and shit like that.
You said that out loud.
Oh, I mean, fuck it. I ain't gonna hide my shit. Like, I love Jeopardy, like shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I read fucking technical manuals on how to build circuit boards and shit. Like, sorry.
All right, Rich.
Lazarus like, jump in, please.
Yeah. I think, like I was saying, probably the saddest part of it for me was the fact that a lot of kids
didn't get to
take part and experience it. You know. Hopefully, and I think it's gonna be more open like they've been in the past as we move forward.
Sure.
But all in all, I think it was good. I mean, your typical celebrities were there singing, doing stuff.
Singing.
Yeah, if we want to call it that.
Hey, look, guys. That was the American dream for J-Lo. Of all people, I did see her too. For J-Lo, of all, she started off as a fly girl, bro.
Yeah.
And now she's singing at the inauguration.
Oh, and let me say something.
Of the 46th president.
Right.
And she's not a great singer.
Right.
She's not a bad singer, but she's not a great singer. Like, that's American dream.
I'm not knocking the come up at all, but if we're gonna be honest, like it wasn't
Thanos.
For the inauguration, it was a very okay rendition. Like,
and you know, it's funny, on the way over here to meet with you guys and come on set, I was thinking about something. I wanted to ask you guys this. You know, since we're talking about J-Lo and stuff like that, do you guys think in our lifetime we'll ever see a Caribbean artist perform for an inauguration?
Yes. I can.
Tough one, right?
No, right. No. Here's why I say yes. Okay. When you say a Caribbean artist, you mean?
I just mean it could be a reggae.
So like here's no. This is what I mean by that. Like, so if you want to be technical, Nicki Minaj, Rihanna are Caribbean. Right. So that's what I mean. That's why I asked. I mean, you mean a Caribbean artist performing Caribbean music?
Yes.
That's all. I was like, you answered that way too quick, bro.
Right. Because I followed the technicality of it. I was like, yeah, absolutely. I think Rihanna will. I think at some point they'll have Rihanna.
I'm going to say no. And here's the reason why. Not because Caribbean music won't be mainstream. It's that, like, I don't think we have enough crossover artists yet that could appeal to not just us, but also to the masses.
I'll take it.
I got a part B to your question. Okay. To the question.
I'll take it a step further with the no.
Okay.
I think because it is an American inauguration, I think they will traditionally go with American artists. So even if you are Caribbean background, I think you would have. Again, I don't know. This is.
I just had a random idea, but go ahead.
But I'm thinking, like, unless you're talking about someone like who was born here, Caribbean parents, I don't think so.
But what about, like, from the VI? They're technically American.
Good point.
Very, very true.
I don't really know if there are any. Well, y'all got a couple artists that are fairly crossover. I just don't know if they sing though. But anyway,
we have a couple, and I mean, you look at different bands. You've had, midnight over the years. You've had a lot of different conscious groups and stuff.
Sure.
We got Pressure, who is probably one of the most popular artists, at least right now. We have another singer, guy named Adam O, stuff like that.
I know Adam O.
Yeah.
That's my dude.
Yeah, he good people's. So the thing about it, I just was thinking about, like, suppose, let's say Bob Marley hadn't passed and he was still alive today. Would he have played for a U.S. president?
I think it would depend. Because, again, you got to remember with the planning committee, it's not just the president.
Sure.
Yeah.
The committee got it, and then when they, and remember, so, like, even when you talk about this inauguration, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you do it, you're looking at what is everyone going to, the people who voted for you and the people who voted against you. Mm-hmm. So, and they're going to nitpick every little thing.
To appeal to everyone.
Right. So, I personally, and I'm not, for better or for worse, I just don't know if they would go with a non-American artist performing at the American president's inauguration. I just don't think it would happen.
Yeah,
it might. It was just something that piqued my interest when I thought about it.
So I do have a question for you guys though, to kind of reel it back. All right, so I know everybody noticed all of the Bernie memes throughout the week, right? Mm-hmm. And I thought it was kind of poetic because Bernie was a trending topic from Wednesday until today still.
Yeah.
And the actual president is not a trending topic at all.
But you know what, though?
Hold on.
Right. So, that was a question. My bad.
Bernie is the people's champion right now.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And it's funny, like, the poetic piece of it for me is that, like, he got snuffed in the last election, or the last primary, rather. And it clearly didn't work out for this for the one after that. Yet he's still the guy that everybody loves. Granted, it's not the political piece, but like...
Right. And the thing is with that is because the younger generation relate to what Bernie tries to fight for. Mm-hmm. Right? So, like, the things that he advocates for, while the older and establishment people are like, look, this may never happen.
May is a very...
And when I say may, I mean, I just don't know, right?
It won't.
But the older... And we know it won't. But I'm just saying, like... So the older people, the more establishment people know, like, we're never going this far. The same way we're never going that far right.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's like just for the balance.
I mean, that was his innate shortcoming, is that he was a little bit too far left of center to be
and he wasn't very. It was just.
You know what I'm about to say though. So, the same way how we can talk about Trump being a marketing genius and being able to truly rally his base based on that. Mm-hmm. Bernie was more or less the opposite, right? Yes. And here's why, for me at least. Bernie had enough to actually get people on both sides, even people who didn't particularly agree with his politics. Because when it comes down to it, let's be real. You can say that you want to do all the far left stuff all day. Mm-hmm. You got to get the Congress to agree with stuff, right? His biggest issue, in my opinion, was calling himself a socialist.
Absolutely.
I was like, yo, historically, communism and socialism were two things that, like, those are two words that just don't resonate with Americans.
Those are taboo words in America.
And he was like, I am a socialist Democrat. So, bruh, you're losing, like, half the country.
Right, and so that was part of the radical.
But that's because that's just a negative connotation. I mean, literally, you walk up to 9 out of 10 people on the street and tell them, define the difference between communism, socialism, and capitalism to me.
For sure.
They can't do it.
For sure.
And that's why I was saying.
And that's my point. Like, from a marketing standpoint, he just did a poor job.
He could have literally just left that word out,
and he would have fine.
I mean, the left is shit with their messaging. Period.
Facts.
Facts.
Okay. I'm not gonna argue that.
Good. Because that's why
the left is a big tent party, though.
I agree.
And when you're big tent, the problem is you have so many
messages.
Mm-hmm. Right. So it's hard to say that they're shit with their messaging because you
There's
can
just
go
way too many messages.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's why I said I'm not gonna argue because the reality is
But sometimes it isn't even just the messaging, it's the lack of messaging. You understand what I'm saying? There's some times where the left feels that they're just gonna keep their mouth shut and play the high road when it's
don't work in politics.
It doesn't always work. Sometimes you gotta be like, yo, that motherfucker is lying.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Just like that too. Not like that guy is lying.
Yeah, like oh, he's misleading the people. Like, yo, this dude is straight up lying to you, motherfuckers. Which is why
I liked William Jefferson. I don't care what nobody says.
Yeah, Billy was a fucking guy.
I don't care what nobody says.
We're gonna reel that one back in.
Look, hey, everybody entitled to a mistake.
You have your opinion, right? You can have your opinions if you want.
Shit, nigga wanted a BJ.
Look, right?
Who am I to judge?
Right. You can say what you want.
You know what I'm saying? But
it came to getting his message out.
But to your point, he did say what he needed to say.
Sure.
From as far as a president.
And the problem was Obama had to walk on eggshells a lot as that first black president.
Sure.
So a lot of the things, and the what I like about Obama was post presidency, he was able to say a lot of the stuff that he was not able to say, because he would say like, could you imagine if I did this? What Fox News would have got? Like he was able to the stuff he could not say in office. He was able to
let it all out.
Right.
Yeah. So just imagine how liberating that must feel to him.
I agree.
So how about the fact that, at least it appeared to me, that the crowd, even in a socially distanced inauguration, seemed bigger than the last inauguration, though.
We ain't gonna go down that road.
So,
go down that road.
So look, check it.
I'm not gonna go down that road, because that argument was shit from the beginning.
Right.
Just so everybody knows, that whole size shit, like, it's clearly obvious.
We can see
size matters, sir.
That's what she said.
Yeah,
go ahead. Sorry, my bad.
Sorry. Now you good, bro.
I saw it. Look, y'all told me to come real.
Right.
Like,
you know what the thing was?
I'm not doing my PC
I saw where that was going and tried to jump ahead of it, and it was like too late. Damn it.
That's what you get for inviting me.
Right. Yeah. So my take on the inauguration. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a very well done inauguration. I understand like the pandemic and everything was part of the reason, because even beyond the militarization aspect of it, just having a global pandemic that there was never going to be a big crowd, well, there wasn't going to be a big crowd if this guy got elected. The other guy did, then he would have wanted the
everybody, right? But it would still been a small,
yeah, exactly. So, to your other point, Amanda Gorman stole the whole entire, like,
she truly did.
Thumbs up.
I've listened to that speech start to finish several times since, like once they posted it on YouTube, I went back, just like her poise, her delivery, beyond just the words. Like the words were amazing, but her poise and delivery of that speech was like, it was everything.
And I'll even say, like, so I, full disclosure, did not know her. Did not know anything about her until Wednesday, and started doing a little bit of research on her from before.
Yeah,
and like to know that she has overcome a speech impediment with it, like I would have never known. So when I heard some of her video from before, I was like, that can't be the same person.
Yeah.
She killed
she said
it.
It was like she said it was like maybe I watched her interview on Anderson Cooper, and she said it was like maybe like up to 2-3 years ago. Yeah, she still was still working on it because she's young. She was like 21, 22 or something like that. So, but to be that age and have that kind of presence,
bro.
And at a presidential inauguration, right? Like not a stage play, not the valedictorian giving the commencement speech. The inauguration of the president, and to have that kind of command was dope to see.
My like I have a group chat with my family, right? Yeah. My sister posted in the group chat some video of somebody who was kind of covering her and like listing all of her accolades. Bro, my response was, this is so amazing and so depressing at the same time. I was like, I haven't accomplished anything.
Right. Then you think of her age.
I looked at her. I was like 22. Bro, I was 22.
My aunt goes, it's okay. You have 2 beautiful sons. I was like,
I
had
sex twice.
I accomplished busting 2 nuts.
That's all. That's what she did.
Jesus. Like you ever notice like your moms and your aunts have that way of, they try. Like they try so hard and bless their heart.
Because they love us.
Yeah, they love us.
And then they know
they're trying. And they're like, I'm trying to find that one thing.
And then you watch this 21-year-old prodigy
it's okay,
fucking steal the stage.
Like, she didn't even say like, you do so well in work. I was like, no, you have 2 kids. Okay. There are a lot of people who have kids.
I think my mom would probably struggle to figure out what the fuck she said about me.
Look, there's people with more, there's people with less. This isn't even I didn't even have a boy and a girl to say like seriously. I had sex at least twice in my life. Is all you just said.
I only had sex twice.
And that's it. We won't acknowledge anything.
Only twice. Yeah. But anyway, let's talk about some of the coverage.
So that was what I was getting to, right?
Let me take a sip.
So we got to Amanda Gorman's speech, and then that came after President Biden's speech.
Sure.
And I know some people, like you said, that you thought it was Biden's delivery is his delivery. Sure, right? So he is not the orator that say Obama was, or even Clinton was, right? But the substance of the speech, to me,
it was there for sure, for sure, 100%.
So, and I enjoyed it, like listening to what he said.
And I'll, before you even go, it was stuff that needed to be said.
Absolutely.
After the last 4 years.
Exactly.
Right. So, you know me, I like to hear what the other side is saying. Because I'm thinking,
me too.
How are they going to spin this?
Right.
Yeah.
And so...
they spun it.
I went to Fox News.
If I may, Martha, I'm going to issue something of a dissent from some of the fellow feeling we've been hearing today. Joe Biden's inaugural speech, I really thought it was 2 speeches. There was a lot in there that was good about unity and reconciliation, even quoted St. Augustine, one of my favorites. But there was another speech in there in which he was talking about things like people telling lies for power and profit. He's talking about nativism, white supremacy. I think a lot of people let's face it, nearly half the country did vote for Donald Trump. And was at that point President Biden talking about Donald J. Trump, or is he talking about the people who voted for Trump?
In any case, we flipped off CNN and decided to check out Joe Biden's speech for ourselves. We're going to bring America together, Joe Biden told us today, but not everyone is going to be included.
A rise of political extremism, white supremacy, domestic terrorism that we must confront and we will defeat.
We will defeat political extremists, domestic terrorists, white supremacists. Those are America's enemies. We must wage war against them. We must, quote, defeat those people. A declaration of war against white supremacy. But the question is, what is it exactly? Now that we're waging war on white supremacists, can somebody tell us in very clear language what a white supremacist is?
Please stop.
Yeah,
please stop.
Yeah, right there.
Right. Place to stop.
Right there.
So...
Give some context around that
so,
video.
I don't think there's much context.
Right.
No.
So
just for shits and giggles, provide a little context. Just so nobody can say we not being fair, right?
Fuck that. I'm being very fair.
All right. So the video y'all just watched was Tucker Carlson. I forget the name of the first guy, right? But
who cares?
Bottom line was, my problem is, again, like we said, we're trying to find what could you possibly say negative about the events of the day, right? Mm-hmm. Singers, poet, speeches, blah, blah, blah. They were mad that Joe Biden
called out white supremacists. Right.
I was so confused.
So, bro, like, when I listen to it, it's one of 2 things that come out of this, right? Mm-hmm. And they're really one of the things. 2 sides of the same coin. Either he thinks that Joe Biden is calling all of the Trump supporters white supremacists. Okay. Which I will say, I know people who voted for Trump. So that's what I meant, Trump, not Biden. Who voted for Trump, white supremacists. I know people who voted for Trump who I wouldn't consider a white supremacist. They got some blind spots, some serious blind spots, but whatever, right?
Gotta blink us out.
Right.
But then there are some people who were like legit white supremacists, people who bring out the Confederate flag, people who bring out the Nazi flag. Yeah. Like the dude who had the Camp Auschwitz hoodie when they ran through the Capitol.
And that dude, by the way, that dude is a fucking dick.
Right.
Like, you know him?
No, I don't know him, but I just mean like,
I
see him in the street, I'm gonna punch him in his face.
We don't want you getting locked up.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. I'll take that charge. Just FYI, that's just me.
But it's like,
that's fucked up.
He is
right.
He's so
sorry.
That
gives me a visceral reaction. Like, I'm like, dude, you're a dick. But carry on.
No, you're right. But like, my issue with that whole thing is, all right, so if he is calling all white supremacists, all the people who follow Trump white supremacists, then to me it's this. Either we do need to denounce all of them, right? If that is your assumption. Right. But we know that that's not the actual assumption, right?
Because that's not what he said in the speech.
Right. The other part is, like, let's call a spade a spade. If they are white supremacists, to me, this would have been the easiest bipartisan comment from Tucker Carlson. Biden is right. If there are white supremacists that were following Trump, they do need to be denounced. And, like, I'm not going to take offense to what his comments are because we don't actually like white supremacists. Exactly. Like, so like, when it really comes down to it, it's if he ain't talking about you. If you're not a white supremacist, he ain't talking about you.
Yeah. And it's simple. I mean, to me, it's like, yo, like, how hard is it to denounce white supremacy? Like, I mean...
It's apparently very hard.
Right.
It's apparently very difficult.
I mean, okay, like, maybe I'm mistaken. Last I thought this shit was 2021, right?
All the way 2021.
Doesn't matter.
So, the crazy fucking... Like,
the crazy shit about it being 2021 is Georgia just got its first black senator.
Ever.
And we just got the first black Secretary of Defense.
True,
so it is 2021... And there are still a lot of the Washington football team just hired the first black GM in the whole NFL.
Right,
like, so it's 2021, but
the poetic part of that is like that's
of all the teams.
Of all the teams. Like
football team, right?
We had to remove the mascot.
Yeah. Because remember, back in the day, that was why what's his name? For Cleveland, I think it was Jim Brown. That's why he went to Cleveland. Because back in the 60s, Washington was like, we will not draft a black player.
They would not, right.
Okay.
That was back in the days.
I'm a Giants fan, so I don't really care about
I'm a
Washington.
Cowboys fan, so fuck
Washington.
them.
Oh, this the whole NFC East.
You can hate me if you want.
I am not a fan of the NFC East. I'm by association.
We suck. I get it. We suck.
Very much so.
But I was just going back to this whole white supremacy thing. It's like, you know, it's actually kind of funny to me.
Okay.
And it bothers me that it's funny.
Okay.
Because the thing is, you know, I believe our parents and grandparents actually kind of had it easier.
Okay.
Because you know that shit was coming at
you.
Sure.
Oh, okay. I get
you know what I'm saying?
100%.
Because I was getting ready to be like, wait, easier.
No.
I was following him.
Okay.
No. I mean,
what
I mean easier. I mean easier in terms of spot.
To be unidentified.
Right.
To
No, that
identify.
makes sense.
Oh, very unpopular opinion. I think one of the worst things that ever happened to Black Americans was
desegregation.
Dog.
I don't know how unpopular that opinion is.
Integration truly screwed over Black Americans
in a way.
Right. No, like I'm not gonna say that there weren't benefits.
Right. No. And look, that's why I said I don't even think the opinion is that unpopular.
Okay.
When you put it in the right context,
sure,
right?
Sure.
It wasn't necessarily just integration. It was the laws that were spawned out of integration.
And not only that,
and that's the problem there, because it was legally they set in place a system which we are still trying to get out of today.
So here's the reason why I say though that it's one of the worst things that happened. Not because of the laws, even. It was. I feel like integration was looked at as a destination, as opposed to like a stop along the way.
Gotcha.
So a lot of people thought, oh, we made it.
Yeah.
It's the same way like we got a black president. Oh, we made it. No, we ain't make anything yet.
They thought they reached the promised land before they really did.
And to take it a step further, when they got integration, they integrated black people at a subservient level.
Yes.
So it's like. I had prosperity amongst my community. Mm-hmm. It's like, imagine I'm a business owner, you're a business owner, you're a business owner, and we're all doing well.
Yep.
And now we integrate into white community, and now I'm a worker.
Oh, and I'll take it one step further before we reel it back.
Yeah.
One step further. The issue with that, too, is from an optics standpoint, when our white counterparts, at least back then, maybe not now, when they see that you figured out a way to make it out, you figured a way to make it out, I figured a way to make it out, right? They think, oh, well, if Rich, Jason, and Dre made it, then all of them should have made it. Like,
here's the worst part of that, right?
Problem.
That's not even back in the day.
Bitches
like that, Candace. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Let it slide.
I
feel like this is about to be a part of the
she is one of those.
That Candace broad though.
Bro, dog. She is my biggest problem with her is she is one of those I made it, why can't you made it black people.
Right.
And her whole narrative is systemic racism doesn't exist. Racism doesn't exist. It's propaganda put on by the left. Like, and don't even get me started about the stuff that happened in college. Like, I know what you're about to say, and that's why I'm not even going to even waste the time to bring up the shit. Like,
he about to pull something up.
Right. It don't even make sense to bring up the art because it's like, let's leave all of that aside, right? She would literally, any situation is. And I know she's an internet troll, right? I get it. Sure. She is a.
That's how she gets her.
She's
her
a plant.
Following.
Like she speaks in Tommy Lauren's voice. Fuck her too. So, at the end of the day,
she's a Nubian queen too.
So,
it's a joke. It's a joke.
I'm about to walk out.
Go
in a row.
Oh God. Yo, she got links to the VI. Jesus Christ.
It's young people, dog.
No. Yeah, young people, dog.
I hate you.
Y'all dropped the ball in VI. Which island, though?
St. Thomas.
It's like I from
Kushan Massive.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
But so look, check it, right? She's one of those people who constantly preaches this narrative of racism doesn't exist. It's propaganda by the left. Meanwhile, the people who are living through it are like, nah, like, I'm really experiencing this. And she tries to downplay it by, well, I made it so everyone can make it. And that's part of the problem was when the folks pushing that narrative get someone that looks like us to say it. There are the people, and again, it's not the majority because most of us are smart enough to figure out what she is.
So here's something that just popped in my head as you said she has ties to St. Thomas, right? Mm-hmm. Though St. Thomas is a part of the United States, it is still very much Caribbean, right? Mm-hmm. It actually makes more sense now to me. I will not justify her stance, but it makes more sense now because I think as immigrants, right? So granted, yes, she's American still, or family's American still.
Well, her father,
but coming from an island,
she couple generations,
right. The difference in background,
like it changes your perspective because I grew up with some kids, Black American as well, who had a different mindset when it came to like going through the ranks as opposed to me, family from Trinidad, and like. We just didn't have that almost generational curse of like,
and it's different. It's different when you have the Caribbean background because you don't have, like you said, the stick. Like you did not experience it, and your forefathers didn't experience it to the same extent.
Sure.
Because in the Caribbean, for the most part, when slavery ended, the levels, the government systems were not put in place in the Caribbean to keep.
And
us
the
back.
Slave masters left.
Yeah.
And the majority of people that were in those or on those islands were not white people. They were people of color. So it's like you end up being able to like self-govern almost.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it changes.
I mean, for me, moving from there to here was actually a little bit of a culture shock.
I'm
sure.
sure.
The first time in my life, I was in the minority.
Right. Absolutely.
That's different. And for me, that's something big because, back home, everybody looks like me.
Right.
And I would let me take it a step. For me, it was even a step further.
I have something to tell you with regard to that shady chick in a minute.
So I take it a step further. For me, I moved to New York, to Brooklyn, a mostly Caribbean neighborhood.
Sure.
So I went to school and hung out around. There was one white kid in my school. So I didn't even.
He was probably cool.
But how old were
John
you?
was coolish.
How old were you?
14.
See?
But you see what I'm saying? So grew up in the Caribbean, and when I came here, I was still surrounded by other people in the same situation.
Sure. Yeah.
So we didn't even start to really deal with it. Like we dealt with it on the periphery. Like we knew it was happening and we knew what was going on because we were taught about it. But I didn't have the same experience as someone who born and raised and grew up here and had to experience it all their life.
Sure.
But even so, I can understand the reality of this thing that Candace Owens is pretending doesn't exist.
Right.
And is using her platform to try to convince people doesn't exist. Irresponsible of her.
So what's your point?
So to that point, apparently in 2007, when she was a 17-year-old senior in high school,
That's the thing I was telling you about.
Yeah, she received some racist death threats.
Okay.
And then proceeded to sue and win a case against these people based on racism.
Right.
But now all of a sudden, racism doesn't exist.
Right, because Fox News has told her racism doesn't exist.
I mean, like it's when it comes down to it, it's all convenience.
And I want to point out the fact that she was a 17-year-old, so she was pretty close to being an adult. That time difference between then and now,
bro, there's a price for everything. Right. That's really what it is.
And that's the point I want to make, right? Because at the end of the day, she's no different than anybody. Whatever is gonna get her attention and make her money is what she's gonna take. And what she's gonna say. And she's a you know when they say token black people, she's a token motherfucker who says whatever they want to say.
The difficulty with that though is like this, right? In the space that she's in right now, among the white people who are like, yeah, see, like it's all good, right? Let her end up in a space where they don't know who she is.
Yeah.
She's just another black chick at that point in time.
But you know what the thing is? Because she has that popularity amongst them, they all know who she is.
No. What I'm saying is,
saying if
there are some people who don't know who she is. There's some white people, like true racist white supremacists, who do not know who she is.
Absolutely, but remember, because she's enjoyed a certain level of celebrity, and honestly, because we have given her some of that through sharing her stuff negatively, like. And that's why if you look at I will never share
shit about it.
But I see people who share it like, I can't believe this bitch said this and blah, 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 blah. And it's constantly going up.
Sure.
So if 4 of us are racist white people, right? There's a good chance one of us knows who she is. So if she's, I'm saying, I know. But that's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? You get in a room full of there's a good chance. And so that's what I mean by her celebrity has gotten to the point where she's not going to experience many spaces where she's unknown.
So so what I meant, like, not to belabor
I get what you're saying.
But what I meant is, you know, if she goes into a mall, right, where some white cashier doesn't know who she is.
Oh yeah, she's just another.
Or some associate just starts following her, right? Or like she gets stopped by a cop in some podunk area, very rural area who don't watch TV. It's another black chick. But anyway.
But you know the worst part of that is?
What's that?
She will never associate it with her. Even if she does mentally, she will never say it because that will cost her money.
It'll completely like take her legs out of
it takes her legitimacy away.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like the chick is crazy.
So I want to reel it back a little bit.
Right, I got you.
Back to
we went down a rabbit hole there.
Yeah, we did because you know what? When she's a trigger for me,
dude.
Her name is a trigger word for me. But anyway,
back to Tucker Carlson.
So the problem with Tucker, right? If you are going to make this argument,
aside from him being a cunt,
aside from that, right?
So I want to start normalizing different words because I love cunt.
I do.
I think you love cunt too. Right?
I love it.
I think you love cunt too.
I love it literally, euphemistically.
We can't call people we don't like cunts.
All right, guys. I guess we done early tonight.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
I apologize. I have a potty mouth, people, so please forgive me.
It's my favorite word.
If you know me, you know I say a lot of bad words, so I apologize. I hope the kids ain't around.
Y'all gonna be all right. Go ahead.
So, when he made his statement, I'm listening, and I'm like, kind of to your point, but to take it a step further, I was like, well, Tucker Carlson isn't an idiot. He is what he is. He knows what he does, and he knows his audience.
Sure.
And he says in his very smug, annoying voice that, well, we're not white supremacists, and we don't support white supremacy.
Sure.
But you're still defending the fact, or not defending, rather, you are arguing the fact that Biden declared a war on white supremacy, where I feel like if you're declaring a war on white, I'm all for that. Where do I sign up? Right? If I'm anti-white supremacist.
Right.
He's saying, well, who are you who's a white supremacist? A lot of people could. No, sir. The problem is, members of your audience.
That's right. That's right.
Prescribe to that way of thinking.
That's right.
Exactly.
You even know it's probably the majority.
Yep.
Right? No, let's be real. Let's be real. Let's call it what it is, right?
That's facts.
Because you cannot, you cannot allow someone to belittle white supremacy and you not defend it.
Right.
Without losing half your audience. So because of all the things that they were said, of all the things that was said, you decided to harp on Biden's declaring a war on white supremacy. And this is how you know Tucker has no respect for his audience, right? Because he started saying, this man who controls the largest army in the world, the largest police force, is declaring war. Everybody with common sense knows they don't mean literal war. They're not calling. They're not sending the Marines. Like, but you believe
knocking on doors,
right? You believe
you're white supremacist.
Your audience is so stupid. They're gonna think, oh my God,
they're coming for me.
Right. You know it's not. You know that. Right. So
like they're coming for my guns.
Right.
No, we're not.
No one's coming for anybody's guns.
You can bear arms.
Right.
We're not coming for it. All we're saying is register your shit.
But that's why you know they don't have any respect for the intelligence of their audience.
Yeah, but see, they do it for everything. Speaking back to the gun thing, you know, they're like, oh, you're trying to take my guns. No, we're trying to be safe. If you don't have nothing to hide and you love guns, register your shit.
Listen to the crazy thing about that. So I was talking to a gun nut friend of mine, and his argument to me was against registration, right? Because I was saying, what is the problem? The problem that we have right now is every state has different laws regarding registration. So, and every time the right makes an argument, they say, well, look at Chicago that has some of the toughest gun laws, but has some of the highest gun crime. And
which is not even true.
But listen, so the laws obviously don't work. And my argument, right. But I say, well, here's the problem with your argument. I don't have to buy the gun in Chicago if I can go to Texas or Georgia, someplace where the gun laws are liberal and loose.
Right back,
right. So that is why, like, yes, I can't purchase it in Chicago or New York, but you act like I have to. I don't have to use my passport. I can drive to one of these other states.
Easy.
So your argument loses all weight, right? Take it a step further. They scare people into thinking that, oh, well, the government will come and take your guns if you because that's what he said. He was like, well, no, because if we're all registered, that just makes it easier for the government to come take it.
It really doesn't.
The government,
like aside from that, right? Like from a logistics standpoint, we don't have the resources to go and check.
Spell logistics, bro. That's the problem. Right.
Fair enough.
Right? You see what I'm saying? Like that's the people who are having this. The people who don't even understand. Like they think the government's coming to take your guns. Really?
They don't care, dude. As long as you're not putting shit online like you're trying to kill somebody.
And the craziest part of it is right now, the way the laws are so loose, of course there's going to be a bunch of legal guns in the U.S. Because, again, I can buy a gun in a state that has loose gun laws.
Take it anywhere.
And I don't even have to report if it's stolen.
That's right.
Simple shit like, hey, universal registry that because do you realize the ATF does not have
a universal registry?
Right.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't realize
the agency in charge of alcohol, tobacco, and firearms does not know where all the fucking guns are in the country.
It makes sense, though. It makes sense.
No, because
I'm not saying it actually makes sense, but it makes sense.
Because the NRA has been lobbying against it forever.
But it's fucking dumb. Yeah. Why?
Yeah, but
because
simple. Common sense isn't common. Like that is the simple answer to it.
Like, okay, take for example, right? You know, I live in Washington, D.C.
Right.
I could get a Utah State concealed carry weapon.
Okay.
License.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
That gives me reciprocity with 37 states.
Not DC though.
Well, right.
Not DC,
right?
Because DC changed, but now before the chief had to explicitly give you permission to have a license.
Okay.
Now they can't stop you.
Right. But there was a point not too long ago. You could not even own a gun in your home in DC.
Yeah,
like, you couldn't own a gun at all. If a gun was in the District of Columbia, not in the possession of a cop, it was illegal.
Yeah.
Right.
Every single one. So
I think.
So to me, I think. Not to cut you off, but I was just going to say, to me, from a federal level anyway, why don't they just make it across the board a fucking universal federal thing? And I understand the NRA is fucking lobbying and doing dumb shit, but to me, it's stupid. Because again, like the white supremacist thing, if you ain't a white supremacist, why do you care?
Right.
But if you're not going
but you're hitting on the head right there.
Remember, so that's to bring us back to Tucker Carlson.
Exactly.
Knowing the bulk of my crowd white supremacists, I can't, in all good conscience, allow Joe Biden to declare war on them without defending them.
I lose my base.
I lose my base. So I have to say something. That's like, so I'm a party promoter, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I decide, okay, I'm not doing events during a pandemic. That's me. Decision I make.
That's also me.
Right?
I'm just going to be very clear. I'm not throwing any parties during pandemic.
Right. I'm not knocking.
We ain't doing shit.
I'm not knocking anybody who is, but I'm just saying I'm not. Wait, hold on, let me finish. Not knocking anybody who is. I'm just saying I'm not throwing any parties during a pandemic, right? So I make a post. A friend of mine make a post on Instagram talking about big up everybody respecting the whatever, right? If you comment on that post to say whatever, oh well, people go to the gym and blah, blah, blah. Right. Defending it.
Making fucking excuses. Carry on.
That to me seems, if I didn't mention you, like,
are you talking
guilty?
About you?
Right. What you worried about?
If you're not somebody actually doing it.
If you're not a white supremacist.
It ain't about you.
Why are you even in here talking about, like, you know what I'm saying?
I think this is a perfect segue because that is actually a real issue right now. And maybe issue is not the word.
Issue isn't the word.
Issue isn't the word. Mm-hmm. That is a real scenario. Put it that way.
So right,
I'm using my
you
all that shit. Yeah,
you educated.
because like let's be real, and I think this is a perfect segue too because we've got one of DC's biggest promoters in studio today.
Debatable.
No,
that's not debatable.
Let's be real. Like you guys are one of the biggest, if not the biggest, right now in DC.
I appreciate that.
And
show me a little more ice there, man.
And it's very clear.
This makers about to get tapped.
Oh, we got another one.
I know. But carry on. I'm sorry.
No,
I keep interrupting everybody's fucking monologues.
That is literally the culture in here.
Okay,
interruption, right?
Keep in mind,
did you just pull out water?
Yeah, he did. That's okay. Let him, man. Allow him. Oh, wow.
All right, so
it's okay, guys.
I'm sorry, guys. Like,
he puts it away. I can't reach over there.
He's a host, and I'm behaving better than he is. That's crazy. Carry on, son.
So, as some of, if not the biggest promoters in DC, you all have clearly made a stand not to throw events during the pandemic.
Yes.
I am a fairly small promoter in DC, very niche. I have not thrown any events during the pandemic. I also don't throw a lot of events anyway. Rich, also fairly small, but like a good following. Look, we're humble, all right? We're humble. Has not thrown any events during the pandemic. But there are people who feel comfortable throwing events during the pandemic, right? Now, I actually had this conversation with a few people online as well. It was a group chat, actually, not online. And some folks were like, oh, they're reckless, and then other folks were like, hey, but you know, it's a free market. And when it comes down to it, I understand. Like, when it comes down to it, I'm like, let's liken it to drugs, right? I'm not talking about weed, let's talk about drugs, right? I'm not a fan of people smoking crack, heroin, coke, whatever it is. But if the demand is there and someone decides to supply it, there's a
analogy. So you're not going to knock that person.
It's not that I'm going to knock them. Like, there's the moral piece of it. From the moral standpoint of it, I'm like, it affects communities at a grand scale. That's a problem.
That's actually that's a perfect analogy. When you think about it.
That's what I'm saying. I love that.
I didn't even really acknowledge how perfect that analogy was.
But from a free market standpoint, I'm like, it's economy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is literally what we do. Like, on some, if we want to take it from street drugs to pharmaceuticals, right? Like, it's the same exact issue. I mean, certain things are legal today that weren't legal before.
Right. I mean, but even we could even leave it at street drugs, right? Because here's what I'm saying. When you think about it, the problem that people have with parties, right? And full disclosure, I'm a little on the fence, and I'm gonna tell you why I'm on the fence. I'll get to that later. But like, the problem that people have with parties is a lot of people are of the mindset that, okay, what's happening right now is real, meaning the pandemic, right? And it's not like it's some people don't believe it's real or whatever, or have their feelings about it. But the reality is 400,000 dead is a real thing, right? So
Larry King,
right? Is that what he died?
Is that what he died from?
Oh, you know he was. Right.
I didn't realize that was it.
Respect to Larry King.
Big up
what
Larry.
we doing here? He led the way.
He definitely did.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? But
damn, I didn't realize.
But go ahead,
So when you look at the people who are not doing, a lot of them are like, look, I don't want to be a part of, possibly a part of the spread.
Sure.
So the people who are not are looking at other people at and throwing and having events and being, and they're like, this is why it's not going away.
Sure.
Like, when you look at other places that have been more, that have respected the lockdown a little more, like you look at places like New Zealand, Australia and stuff, that have been a little bit more a little bit stricter with their.
And New Zealand just reported 0 cases this past week.
And so let's
0.
Yeah. And so let's think about it in terms of size. We don't compare to New Zealand.
Of course
size-wise,
not.
But we can still look at it from a dynamics perspective. We're like, okay, they all got on the same page. We did not all get on the same page.
So it's not possible.
It's not possible in the US. Right.
I mean, by nature, the U.S. is about individuality and
absolutely.
shit. So nobody.
The fact that the States,
aside from that, like, and I think that's where you ought to go. Aside from individuality, each state governs itself.
Well, yeah, that's
so like, and the federal government doesn't have the autonomy to say everyone has to lock down.
Right, and they did not. And when they had the ability, not to invoke, when they had the ability, because listen, when they had the ability,
president that we had would have never tried to write an executive order. But I hear you. I see what you're saying.
He didn't even have to write an executive order. He could have called for a meeting of the governors to discuss it and say. And again, even if everybody doesn't buy in, if you get the majority of the governors to buy in, and kind of put the lean on the others, it's kind of like.
But isn't that what we're celebrating? That's what democracy is.
Right. Absolutely.
To a point.
You see what I'm saying?
To a point.
Like, what I'm trying to say is, like, this whole scenario, given the past administration, if they didn't feel like they were superior to the governors and the states and stuff, if cats had just literally been like,
Go ahead.
if cats had literally done what you just said, brought the governors together. I mean, look, Larry Hogan.
No,
we in Maryland right now, right? Larry Hogan, governor of Maryland.
Yeah,
he, as an individual, I have to give him a lot of credit, because one thing I would say about him, he gave a lot of information. He worked, and he's not about bullshit. But he said that he was like, we need a national program.
Right. He was the head of the. I think he's the head of the Governors Association.
Yeah, he's chair of the Governors Association.
So and that's what I was going to get to that point. That you have the chair of the Governors Association, a Republican, who is saying, hey, if you come to us and we get the other, we'll follow your lead, right?
Sure.
And we may not all agree on the path, but when you're saying one thing, your medical staff is saying something else, the CDC is saying so then the governors are now going to be left to do their own thing, and now it's based on whatever we believe, right? So we'll bring this back to partying, right?
And I was just about to do that.
Now we have situations where, in that same vein, New York is doing one thing, DC is doing one thing, Atlanta and Florida
and
Houston.
They doing whatever they want to do.
Right.
Yo, I'm convinced Atlanta, Florida, and it's the whole of Florida. I specifically said the whole of Florida.
All of Florida.
Atlanta, all of Florida, and Houston. I swear they had the vaccine.
They must have had it summer.
The funniest meme I saw was it was specific about Atlanta, but I think it's about all of them. They were like, yo, the VIP section in the clubs that are in those spaces, that's where the vaccine was. Because they've been partying hard, no mask at all.
From summertime,
bro.
And the crazy thing was, so here go part of the problem, right? It's like the gun laws. I'm in my state, we can't party. But
I can leave.
I can go to Atlanta.
Oh, there are a lot of people that went to Atlanta.
Get the whole Rona.
A whole bunch of people who left it
and bring that whole joint back with me. And so it don't matter how much we lock down here.
Coronavirus.
Right. It don't matter how much we lock down here.
Hashtag Cardi B.
And so the problem was when you look at the whole scenario of the whole party thing. So the people who were trying to be responsible were like, dog, we want to get back to this too, right?
Yeah.
But we understand that the way to get back to it is for it to be done, or at least under control. Y'all have zero patience and discipline to say, you know what? We can wait.
Bruh.
It's not that important. And then my problem was the absolutely ludicrous arguments that they used to justify doing it, where it was like, oh, well, you can catch it, go into the supermarket. Yes, you can. But the risk is greater.
You could also die 9 times out of 10 in a car accident if you don't have your seatbelt on.
Right.
But we wear our seatbelts.
Right. You see what I'm saying? It's about mitigating the risk. So every time someone would come up with this just absolutely trash argument against the restrictions, I'm like, they were like, oh, I guess the virus only comes out after 10. No, it's not that the virus only comes out after 10. It's that statistically, after 10 is where you're not in dining hours anymore. You're in party hours. So what we're saying is we don't want to cripple this business and say you have to close all day.
Right.
So we'll leave you open so you can make some money off of dining. Yeah. What we don't want is the partying. So now you have to close at 10. Right. Common sense. But because you are so intent on fighting against the system because you believe it's not real, you come up with these absolute ludicrous arguments why none of these things should happen.
So that's human nature, though. I mean,
it is.
Human nature is to you're going to find whatever you can say to justify what you're doing.
Exactly.
Because we're all hypocrites. That's really what it comes down to. We're all hypocrites. All of us. Every single one of us.
Asking me up top.
Absolutely.
That's right.
And so, when I say I'm torn is because while I'm one of the people who believe that, hey, if we all can chill, there's a better chance we can get back to we can get back to our regular life sooner. If we can kind of get it under control, and we'll never get it under control the way we're going.
Well, okay. So here's the thing. I ain't gonna lie. Back in June, I went to Miami. You know, I mean, shit. It was the height of the shit.
You went to the dumpster fire.
I went to the fucking dumpster fire.
Mm-hmm.
It was my fucking 10th anniversary.
Hey, I get it.
You see what I'm saying?
You were a hypocrite. You justified it.
Yeah,
all good. We got it.
My 10th anniversary. No, but see, there's a difference there.
Sure.
Because like, I slid in. I had my room set up. Like,
Sure.
you know, social distancing. Had my own car, all that kind of stuff. The funny thing was,
we went to a party or just went to Miami?
No. I went to Miami.
Okay.
We're getting to the party part.
Okay, because I was like, okay.
I was staying at the SLS in Miami.
Wow.
Okay. Fancy.
All right.
Yeah.
It's
10th anniversary, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I mean, you got
it.
What year is 10? Like what's the? Is it diamond? Is it
war?
Diamond into like 60.
I don't know. I'm not married. I don't know these things.
Bro, I can't.
I know one of these things is wood. I saw wood. I was like, how is that one? Anyway,
there was plenty of that around.
Yeah.
Hey, I see what you did there. She gave real wood.
Okay.
Hey, don't leave me
I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry. I put you on blast.
Got him!
No, but what I was saying is, so like, you know, we're there and there's all the COVID protocols in place and stuff like that.
Right.
Sure.
So, you know, one day we go down to the beach, and I ain't gonna lie to you, like this was my whole movements. When we went down to the beach the first day, there's a little youth man working down there, whatever. I was like, listen, boss. I was like, watch out. Here's a 50 to that. I was like, I coming down here every morning at 10 o'clock. I was like, I want a cabana over there. Away from everybody.
Right.
He's like, all right, big man, I got you. Cool, no problem. He hooked me up, took care of me. Respect SLS for that. But the funny part is the SLS.
You just got him in trouble.
Yeah, but
you heard she calling. Yeah, she calling here.
But the SLS, right? They lease out their pool. They have like this crazy pool area. It's like 2 pools, and all this kind of stuff. So we're coming back up after the beach or whatever, thinking like, you know, and chill, order some food, whatever.
All right.
And we get in there. This is June, mind you. I'm talking June 12th. These cats in the pool, like, hey,
right,
swag surfing,
right. And yo, when I walked in, I was actually taken aback because I was like, yo, what the fuck? I was like, babe, we might got to fly the fuck out of here tomorrow.
Because
you know.
Because you know what happens is the problem I said about parties in the first place is that so somebody gave me shit about going to the gym, right? I went back to the gym as soon as the gym's open. Right?
We see your pictures though.
So
every morning in the mirror.
Y'all niggas done? Y'all done? I'll wait till y'all done.
Go ahead, strong man. Go ahead, strong man.
So right, I go back to the gym as soon as the gym's over, and I even said I was like, this is gonna be the thing where I risk COVID protocols for, right?
Sure.
But so I was like, oh, well, you going to the gym, so how you gonna talk about people going? I was like, all right, you're right. I've decided that this is the thing I'm gonna take the risk on. I go to the gym at 3 a.m.
when nobody's there.
When there's 2 people there tops, right?
Sure.
I'm not drinking. My mask don't come off, and I'm by myself.
That drinking piece is the biggest part.
And that's what I was gonna say, because once you start drinking at a party, I've watched all the videos. Ain't nobody got no masks on, bro. You're not removing that. The minute you take that mask down to take that first drink, that mask ain't coming.
Bro, let me tell you. So I think this is it's bigger than promoters, right? It's like a whole ecosystem. It's promoters, it's the DJs, it's the patrons, right? So I have not been DJing during COVID because I am paranoid about this as well, right? Like I don't know enough information. I'm just not comfortable.
And bro, honestly, before you finish, it's like the first wave came, and whoever it didn't get, that second wave was like, all right, I'm coming.
I got you. Right?
I mean, shit, I had it.
Okay.
So, yeah, motherfuckers, I had COVID. It's okay. I survived, motherfuckers.
Fam. So many people have had that
shit. I'll throw it there. I'm pretty sure I had it before it became a thing in the US.
I thought I did.
Okay.
But I actually tested positive coming back from home. So I was.
Which time? Because you've been home a lot, dog.
That's
another topic we're going to talk about after the promoter shit. Like,
I got you.
Like which time?
This was November, right before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And
So you got the antibodies right now, then. So you good.
Well, I still don't trust. I still don't trust.
And then they got that new variant.
The new variant.
But like,
that's antibodies.
and the crazy thing about it, what people fail to realize is like, they keep talking, like you hear the whole shit we were talking earlier about how people hear this misinformation and stuff. Like, I literally got that joint between Miami Airport and Reagan.
So it's either on the plane or in the airports. One of the two.
One of the two. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because literally everybody that I was around for the 2 weeks prior to that in St. Croix
was quarantining the same way.
No, so they weren't even quarantined. But none of them got it. Negative.
Oh, none of them got it.
I see what you're Nobody got it.
Okay.
My wife didn't even get it.
Right. So what he was doing, dog?
Not as much wood as he could.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So no, but the thing about it is, what I'm trying to say is like that shit is real, right?
No, it's absolutely
it definitely is real.
So at the end of the day, like I said, and that was why I brought up the trip that I went to Miami for my anniversary and stuff like that, is because at the end of the day, people are all adults, right? Right. They're gonna make their choices.
Right.
Me as a business owner. Hookie Life, right? We hear all the time about corporate responsibility and stuff like that. And while we may not be a corporation, I within myself, I'm only 1/5 of the ownership, right?
Sure.
There's four.
You're still an owner.
There's still there's still 4 other brethren that we have to talk about. But based on our discussions, it was like
it's not worth it.
It's not worth us jeopardizing the people that. For all intents and purposes that we love.
Sure.
It's our base. It's not only our base, but it's also people like you, the people around here. You know what I'm saying?
I'll take it a step further. Something you said. Not only is it not worth it to jeopardize the base, you put your brand at risk. Because now to throw something, I need to offer you a watered down version of whatever it is I would normally do. And you were like, I remember when you said this, it was like, if I have to water down the brand to throw the party, I'd rather not throw it.
Sure. Exactly. It's not worth it to me. Okay, at the end of the day, right? People have become familiar with a certain expectation when it comes to like a hookie or something.
Because you all are building an experience.
Exactly. And the problem is that we've had so many contacts and people, trust me, we appreciate you guys reaching out. It's just that I understand you guys want to get out. You guys want to do things. People want to do things. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, what is Hookie Life really about if I'm willing to just say, honestly, you know what? We're going to shoot the fucking dice and see who gets that shit.
Honestly, Jason, sometimes you got to protect people from themselves.
Sure.
So, like, I remember when the pandemic first, it didn't, not when it first started. I have a friend of mine, she was one of the people who was quarantining herself before it became popular. And what I mean by that was when the news first broke in China, and maybe the first cases started to pop up over here, nobody here was really quarantining. And she was talking to me like, you still going out? I was like, yeah, because this is when I'm not even taking it that seriously. Sure. And she was like, you ain't hear about blah, blah, blah. She's like, no, I'm not going nowhere. And she kind of like, but because she quarantined herself earlier, she got COVID fatigue earlier.
Sure.
Because when you isolate yourself, that isolation becomes a problem.
Fact.
So I understand the people who are going out. Even like for us, there was a point where we would have never gathered like this just because we weren't going to be around other people.
I'd have been like, yo, niggas, I love y'all.
Right.
But then join my Zoom
from afar.
I'll join my Zoom.
But then after a little while, you kind of get to the point of, I need to be around people. So anyway, so she hit that point a little earlier. And I remember like when we were all kind of like stopped, she texted me like, Rich, if y'all throw a little basement party or something, I promise you I'm going to come out. Just can y'all, like just dying to be because it was like
back to the point you made about a minute ago.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to protect people from themselves, right? Like I have not been DJing much during this, right? Most of it has been, in actual virtual events or whatever. Right. But I did a birthday party. It was a socially distanced birthday party. It was no more than 12 people. And it was outside. So it was like, it's middle of summer. So I was like, I feel comfortable with this.
Right.
I'm doing this for you. It's a favor because I like you. I love you. You're my fam. Cool. Boom. Yeah. Right. And it was a monumental birthday too. It was like a 40th birthday.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Okay.
I was like, all right, cool.
I'm so sad.
And she specifically said, it's only going to be like people who we've already been around. Right.
Okay.
And we're gonna be social distance, right?
Okay.
Now, I was like, all right, cool. I trust you. I trust your judgment. Let's do it.
All right.
I do the joint, right? Outside, we start off nice. I'm like, this is perfect.
Right.
I have faith in humanity. I'm DJing. Everyone is social distance.
Love.
Everything is cool, right?
Alcohol.
Dog, as soon as the alcohol hit, bro, they start partying like no other. And I was like, what happened to the protocols you all talked about before? And that was my wake-up call. I was like, if this happens in
a private,
a small 12 people party that's outside, imagine if I throw a party that has 100, 200 people.
Bruh.
Right? Like, it's just not worth it, and we have to protect people from themselves.
Right. All right, y'all. We had a good time today. We got a lot of bonus footage. We want to thank y'all for tuning in. This has been the Guys Unpacked podcast. We got our man. Wake up, Sleepy.
Sorry, I ain't sleeping. I ain't sleeping. I trying to fucking be my fucking own person.
Jason can't hang, but this is Jason.
Right.
I
this
can't.
Is Jason from the Hookie Life crew.
True.
It's your boy
something?
Rich.
This is Dre.
And you can follow us online at right now, the Guys Unpacked podcast. It's Guys Unpacked on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube.
Make sure you like us. Make sure you share it.
Make sure you subscribe.
If you don't like it, it's cool.
Make
sure you at least comment and let us know what you don't or do like, and we can
we're gonna
incorporate it next.
Well, you dicks?
Right.
You fucking cunts?
Yes.
So we're gonna work on fixing it.
I'm
All
sorry.
right. When you log on again.
I forgot cunts is not a good word, right?
This episode is going to be live on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcasts. You can follow me at I am Rich McLeod.
DJ has the music and also Reform Fuckboy.
You can follow Jason at
Reform Fuckboy. There we go.
You can follow Jason at Suave Digital VI. Also, Hookie Life.
Hookie Life. I'm sorry. I apologize for my discretion.
And
that is the wrong word, discretion.
That's definitely the wrong word.
That's not the right word for this.
Indiscretion.
So look, make sure you like and subscribe to the podcast. Tune in to us next week. This has been the Guys Unpacked podcast. I'm Rich. This is Dre.
Yup.
And we will catch y'all next week.
Next week.
And we out.
Boom.
Respect.